Welcome back again, our YouTube family, to the Sports Globe YouTube channel. Thank you very much for joining us, and do remember to go on, like, share, and subscribe. We're new to the thing, but we need to increase the numbers, and we need to up the numbers, and get the
It's
conversation going. Most of all, leave your comment whether you like what we're saying or you don't like what we're saying. Make us know what you do, right? And so today we have Orion Brown again, and we're going to talk. Of course, Orion is always my partner in this thing, right? So today SportsMax closed down. So today, meaning today, July 8th, SportsMax closed their door. They have the last show today, Orion. I was really surprised to see something coming out like that. Of course, I saw a conversation from a friend of mine and a friend, and of course, one of the owners and founders of SportsMax, Chris Darren, sent something about, the end of an era. And I was saying, but Chris sell the business long time ago. Sell the business out to digital long time ago. So I don't understand where he was going with it. So in talking to him, today about that thing, is when I realized that is Sportsmax closed down. Digicel closed the thing down today. And of course they closed it along. It looked like it's the media arm that they closed down. I don't see the full story on it yet, but I know they sent out a release. Sportsmax sent out a release that they closing today. As of today, the 8th of July, is when they're going to have the last show. So Loop as well, has closed down. So a lot of our colleagues and friends are going to be pretty much out of a job, or not so sure what's going to happen with them if they have something, or the media landscape in Jamaica, the sports media landscape in Jamaica will absorb them. So it's really, for me, I want to tell you, is a big blow to the sporting industry or the sporting market right across the Caribbean, right? Because Sportsmax started out for me with cricket and with Premier League football, that we could see a whole lot of games that was not able to see locally from a local perspective, and get a local perspective on it and have local discussion on it as well. And that was such a welcome thing. And for me, I'd enjoy watching Sportsmax over the years. So it's a big loss. I did ask Chris if he wanted to comment on it, and he said, him don't want to comment on it at this time. Him leave it alone because something that totally past his time already. He started it, and I want to tell you, he shared the story on it, Orion, and the story on it that he shared is that he had went to a Premier League game in the UK, right, and was sitting in the sports skybox, and he was just saying, how can he have this same thing in the Caribbean, and that formed the way he came up with the name of even Sportsmax. So Sportsmax came out of Sky Sports and Cinemax, right? And he kind of two things, and so that he even stole the colors from the Sky Sports thing, which is the red and the blue, and make it a sports and make it Sportsmax colors. And you had gone on and got other persons involved, which include the great chairman of the West Indies Cricket Board at the time, which was Pat Russell, and Pat Russell came on board and helped him and made the thing valuable. Of course, I remember Ali as well as a big part of it, and the real creative mind between the whole thing and what he had done. I know he had grown that thing, Sportsmax, into a huge entity right across the Caribbean. So to see it right now, it feel a little hurtful that our sports landscape had lost a big and a viable, and I know even for the Premier League, for football that you're involved in as a sports agent or in, that it would be a big loss to a lot of the marketing viability of the Premier League here in Jamaica and across the Caribbean and even to the world.
in regards to broadcasting sports. I guess they started off with cricket and they went into the Premier League and they built and they grew that by a subscription model
Hmm.
with the cable providers all across Jamaica. Now, based on where the overall business in terms of sports from a
Yeah.
technology standpoint, um, I'm not sure how viable that is at this point overall, and so I guess in regards to whatever is going on. It seems weird.
Mhm.
Um, but I understand when SportsMax started. I remember Pat Russo. I know he was a huge part of it. In regards to building that out in the first place and getting that deal, because I think everything came through cricket at some point because the Caribbean was hosting the World Cup. So there are a lot of dynamics that made SportsMax happen in the Caribbean. And bottom line is that whatever deal they had structured at the time to
Mhm.
get the content, whether it was cricket or football from the UK, they had a pretty favorable deal in regards to getting that and then putting it to the masses here in Jamaica and to the
Yeah.
rest of the Caribbean.
But
Um,
it says a whole lot about our, because one of the thing I think Sportsmax was struggling from where I sit. Sportsmax was struggling in terms of you know not funding for the business because the funding get good enough capital when it was starting. So I don't think it's funding that it has, but is advertising and sponsorship and that kind of a thing always a struggle. And I think in Jamaica is a big struggle for people to spend money on sports, and it says a
but
whole lot about, because even when it was a subscribed thing, it wasn't something that people take up in a big way. I think they always have a push to get people to subscribe to the thing more and more. So you'd have a lot of us who talk about English Premier League and we get up when we talk about it, but would have never pay money, to watch the matches or to pay money for a cable network that is bringing the
yeah,
football
so
game to us.
well, well,
Um,
yeah. The thing is, I and we're talking, so we're getting into the business aspects of sports,
yeah,
specifically from a media perspective. No,
yeah,
when I saw that the previous owners got rid of it and they went into something more digital for
yeah,
broadcasting our Premier League, then then you would realize that the overall business has changed from when they started that
hmm,
particular business. No, I don't. I guess I don't know much about day to day of Sportsmax in terms of the business, but from that perspective, you can look at it and say, maybe they were in a transition phase in terms of where that business was, and they
hmm,
were moving on from it, right?
hmm,
Um, Obviously, with a mobile company buying it, they're looking at profits, they're looking at overheads, they're looking at cost, and if they don't see that, then they'll move on from it. There might be some from what I gather from news releases, there might be some digital aspects of certain things that will continue. I don't know, but everybody's going digital now in regards to the broadcast of sports. And if you look, even the current World Cup that's going on in the United States, like everything is being done digitally,
yeah.
in terms of with that particular broadcaster. So let's see how it goes and what they'll do to continue
Yeah, but
broadcasting certain
yeah,
things
but
in
but
terms of
think of
sports.
think of this though, Orion. Sports market in Jamaica, sports market across the Caribbean. Um,
It's not huge.
it's. I mean, and I'm not asking if it is huge, because there sports in the Caribbean is a big
It's a
as a
big thing.
huge
Yes,
fan base.
yes,
It has a huge fan. So there is a market,
yes.
right? There is a market for sports media. There is a market for events. There is a market, right? What I don't get is, how do we get that market to go into their pockets and spend money,
Yeah.
right? I think
Well,
that is something that sports marketers are, the industry don't look at. Or is it that we get people to go into there? Because we all, if you check every single home across the Caribbean region, there is one person in there that follow a sport or more than one sport in that household. So what it
yeah.
means is that
Well,
every single household in the right across the Caribbean, have an interest in sports
yeah. But remember, we
somewhere or the
have
other.
yeah, yeah, sure. But we have very small economies in the Caribbean.
Mhm.
And obviously we're trying to develop that more and more. Um, in regards to money and people paying for things. So let's see it will work out. It
What I
looks to
find
me,
funny though, in Orion, is that people would go and they will spend with the big networks internationally to watch the thing,
yes.
right? Because I've seen that people will go, but if they're getting the local thing, they will not spend money to do
Yeah.
it,
What? Yeah, when I
right?
hear you.
Which is
Yeah,
something that I find. I'm trying to find what it is that we as a people in the region is looking for from our local marketing, from a local marketing perspective, in terms of bringing them the content. Why they're not spending the money on it, because it comes back to the same thing, right? And I know we're going to have a discussion on the whole thing about how people attend events in the Caribbean region, why they attend the event, whether or not there's a market viability for sports in the region, whether or not there is talent. Obviously, there's a lot of talent exists in the Caribbean, right? But why is it that we're not getting people to come out? And this says a lot, It says a lot because we have more people watching the English Premier League, the La Liga, the Bundesliga, all of the leagues them around the world
yeah, but
than that watch our local football,
yeah, man.
right? Which says a whole lot because
Yeah,
Sportsmax had one of those as well.
yeah, man. I hear you. But yeah, but what I'm saying is that in regards to, I think this lines up for something digitally. From whoever are the owners in terms of going into another business.
Mhm.
So that's how I look at it.
But is that
Um,
going to make money still? Are they going to find that as a more valuable thing,
well,
viable thing, as
maybe,
to
maybe.
because the whole thing is that they're saying I get it that they must be they're saying is the income not matching up with their expenditures.
Well, so yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So they must look at it and look at in terms of whatever they're spending and to see how that equates. But that seems like the pathway. Could be
Yeah,
wrong, but that seems like the pathway.
I'd really
Uh,
like to
and,
know,
and,
but
and, 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 and you really can't blame them in
no,
currently in
business is
regards to
business. I understand
in
that.
where in where sports is digitally in terms of media is
Mhm.
digitally. Everything is now
Yeah,
digital. So yeah, you have to look at what your costs are and try to make, because what the main reason for going
yeah,
into business is to make money.
yeah.
So
Business is business.
all right, so you have to look at it from that standpoint.
But certainly, Sportsmax. I
I,
mean, it
so
will be missed. It will be missed
yeah,
as a fan because I tell you this much. I thought that Sportsmax would have helped to propel West Indies cricket because we never had that opportunity to watch a whole lot of West Indies cricket game. We never had that opportunity to watch a whole lot of even other cricket matches that Sportsmax. Nobody was bringing that as a matter of fact at the time. So I know when Chris saw the thing and Pat Russell saw the thing, it was one of the big reason, and it was the market was still huge for it. But I
yeah.
don't know with the downturn of cricket as you know as
Well,
a sport in the Caribbean, I don't know if that would have contributed to the whole viability of the whole thing. So
yeah. No, I will say on this. I think this is the prime opportunity business wise for digital things in regards to broadcast, in regards to sports. So there are ways and ways to look at that, in terms of new companies coming on board to whether they're going to broadcast
yeah,
Premier League, whether they're going to broadcast schoolwide football. So there should be opportunities out there once it's structured right, um, for new ventures. So let's see.
yeah. I'd love to hear what because they had the right to the Jamaica Premier League, eh? Or they didn't.
I think that contract may have
Expired.
yeah, I think so.
So I guess they would be looking for um new persons to broadcast this now and that kind of a thing. I hope it doesn't get
Yeah,
affected because I mean Premier League going to start back in September.
no, it
So
starts in August.
it,
Um,
there you go.
yeah,
So
no, but what I will say, because I was having a discussion before in regards to some stuff I wanted to implement within the league. Um, let's see how it goes. Obviously, I've pitched them what can happen digitally. Maybe they're looking at other options. But let's see.
all right. Well, friends, I hear it right here on the Sports Globe. And of course, we start to see SportsMax as an entity. I mean, go down. I mean, when we started Sports Globe as a newspaper, SportsMax was right there with us as well, and I can remember that quite well. We worked together on a number of different things and many things as well. Um, with Sportsmax. So when we got out, Sportsmax was right there when we got out as well. And after 20 plus years, it's really sad to see them go. I'd love to see, sports as a medium and as a media continue and thing. But anyway, listen, let's hear your views on how well SportsMax have served you over the years. What was your high point? What was your low point? My high point in it is West Indies cricket and EPL that we were able to watch during that time. And my low point is now. What's happening now? The closure. I'd never like to see any sports media entity go down like that. I hope they can, as you say, Orion, maybe they find a digital way to bring some aspects of it or to keep the fans, and thing. But leave your comment in the comment section. Let us know what you think about our discussion and your own ideas around it. And remember to like and subscribe and help us to grow the numbers. People come on, it is growing, so help us to get to the 1,000 mark that we're trying to get to as best as possible. So until another time, until another show, we'll come back to you. So it is Sports Globe. And of course, Orion, thank you very much for coming on as well and to have this discussion with me. I appreciate it all the
Yeah,
time.
no
All
problem.
right. All right. Cool.